Hi, my name is Madeline Dietz, and I did the Placentals-Canidae. So the categories I chose were dogs, foxes, and wolves. So some defining characteristics of this group family is that they have a longer gestation, so they're able to eat little and last longer, or eat a lot and last longer. Um, when they are young, they are nourished prior to birth through the placenta of their mothers, and the placenta is attached to the uterus wall. They are birthed live, and they do have hair or fur. It really depends on the texture of their coat. Um, they have a middle ear that consists of a chain of three bones, and their lower jaw is actually a single bone. Their toes ends in claws, nails, and like stuff like that. Like with dogs, how they have claws. So they have different types of teeth as well. They have incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. They have a four-chambered heart as well. They are two ventricles and two auricles. And their red blood cells lack nuclei, and so that allows for greater air capacity. Um, and they have a larger, more complex, differentiated brain, so this allows them to be able to hear things at a greater distance, smell things, um, see things, be able to sneak up on prey, and hunt, and all of that. So some diversity of the placentals is that they can live basically everywhere and anywhere except for Antarctica. Um, they are more omnivores than um, carnivores. They do eat a lot of meat, but they also can eat other things like berries and uh, plant stuff like that. So for dogs, there are over 170 recognized dog breeds. Each breed has their own nucleobasis. So that means that like each breed has their own set of DNA that um, is different from other DNAs, like a Chihuahua and a Great Dane. Um, and then a lot of them have every one of them has a similar DNA, such as like their noses, their feet, um, different size but similar in look. Um, and most dogs are raised and bred by humans. There are wild dogs, like the African wild dog, but most of the dogs are bred and raised by humans. So, red foxes, they live in forests, tundras, prairies, desert mountains, farmlands, and urban areas. So they can live anywhere and everywhere. They red foxes are the wildest distribution of any canid. And they can, what I found was crazy is that they actually can live longer in captivity than they can in the wild. And in captivity, they live up to anywhere from 10 to 12 years. On the wild, they live to 3 years. And so wolves are an interesting topic because most people look at wolves and they just think instant killer and predator, which is really sad because there has been a 43% drop in genetic variability in modern wolves. So they're losing a lot of stuff they really need to survive. Then there's relatively around 70,000 that are healthy in North America. And then most wild wolves have been captured and reintroduced to Yellowstone National Park. So the life cycle of this family is that they start off in the embryo, and so they are this is when they're in their mothers, they're getting the nutrients from what she eats from the placenta, and once they're born, that's when they're called newborns. They get their nutrients from their mother's milk, and then next we have the juvenile. So here they're becoming a little bit older, but still relying on their mothers a lot, starting to wean off as they get a little older. They're learning how to fend for themselves, how to catch prey, how to really basically just be in a good habitat and how to protect themselves. And then finally you have the adult stage. So this is when they are completely off of their mothers. If their wolves are not, they're let go from the pack or they stay in the pack. They can fight for dominance. They can go off on their own, really become like a lone wolf. Same with foxes, they kind of just go off on their own, create their own lives. Because of what they've learned how to hunt, they've learned how to find good habitats, and they've learned how to really protect themselves. So ecological roles, so they mainly are predators, and they're really dependent on water, nutrients, and cover. So they'll basically do whatever it takes to survive. They wolves will hunt in packs. Fox will go like for, they're more scavengers, so they'll go for like birds, rabbits, mice. And dogs are, at least dogs in captivity, or like pets. They get fed through dog food. There are some people that give them raw-based food, and so that's raw meat. But most people give dog food. There's wet food and dry food. So my explanation. So the article I chose is Yellowstone After Wolves. I chose this article because I'm originally from Pinedale, Wyoming, which is about 2 hours south from Yellowstone. And I've never really truly understood why they would put these predators in Yellowstone. And I don't understand this because most of the wolves from Yellowstone and Cody, Wyoming, which is right next to Yellowstone, most of the wolves and bears from there get relocated to the Upper Green, which is about 45 minutes from Pinedale in Cora, Wyoming. And so basically, these wolves migrate down from Yellowstone and then they come into my backyard. So the article talks about why they reintroduced the wolves to the park. And it was because they wanted more of a natural selection. The part of the park where they put the wolves was the northern part, where some of it was private and some of it was public land. And they did this because they knew the land was also hunted by humans, therefore, it'd be another way to control a population of all animals in the area. This includes elk, moose, deer, wolves, bears. But as the wolves grew in population and kind of outgrew that area, outgrew the habitat, the prey that they had to eat, and their food source, really, they started migrating to other parts of Yellowstone. And as they did this, the people began to realize that they were helping other ecosystems as well. That because one part that they really went towards was Isles Relais, and this area was overran by moose at the time, and so the wolves really helped bring that population down. It helped build the wolf population, but at the same time, because the wolves were growing in population, everything else was decreasing. They started destroying the habitats in the park. So this first chart here on the left, it was a prediction of what would happen if they reintroduced the wolves to Yellowstone, and what they discovered is that the elk would ultimately be the top prey for the wolves. And as they predicted, they were correct. The elk population really decreased, and due to this, the wolves would grow, and then they would just start killing for fun, which would leave elk and moose just dead, untouched, was not eaten, and they just kind of wasted and rotted that way. So this became a huge problem for all of Wyoming at this point. So to help this population, the Game and Fish offered tags for the wolves. So these were hunting tags where people were able to purchase them, and whenever they saw a wolf, they were able to shoot the wolf. And they had a quota for each season. And once the quota was filled, then no more wolves could be killed. And so the picture in the middle shows where they first put the wolves, and then the second picture on the right shows where the wolves migrated. So as you can see from the first picture to the next picture, the wolves really kind of took over Yellowstone. And there's my sources for my pictures. And thank you.